Before we get into it, I want to mention that this week's episode is proudly sponsored by the Moonology Diary 2026, and yes, I wrote it. I like to think it is your ultimate moon-powered guide to manifesting. You can really produce your best year yet. Without a word of a lie, this diary will get you through pretty much anything if you use it. It has new moon intentions, information for you. It's got monthly astrological overviews. It's got space for your forgiveness lists. I know the information in there can be used to get you through just about whatever you might be going through or have been through. So don't delay. This sells out every year. Go to moonmessages.com/diary 2026. That's moonmessages.com/diary 2026 and check it out. And if you do that, you'll see there is a free masterclass about the astrology for the end of the year. I actually recorded it in the middle of 2025, but all the information in there for October, November, December 2026 will still apply, and it's all about how to finish this year strong. So thank you to the Moonology Diary 2026 for sponsoring us. So this week, I am very excited to welcome back to the Mainly Moonology podcast someone who's been on here maybe more than anybody. I'm not really sure, but she's a very lovely friend of mine from New York, the fantastic, renowned, intuitive Laura Day. So Laura, welcome back to the Mainly Moonology podcast.
Oh my God, you didn't even insult my accent in the first 3 minutes. We're at a new level of friendship.
I'm slipping. No, I realized that it doesn't go down very well, so I won't do it anymore.
It's
feel free to joke about my accent. So Laura and I were chatting on the phone earlier this week, and we were talking about the fact that there's some really interesting astrology coming up in the new year. And so I said to Laura, it would be interesting to know if it's possible to dissect the astrology through the prism of the Prism, which is Laura's new book, which she has been on Good Morning America and Oprah Winfrey and I don't know where else, everywhere you can possibly think of, talking about it. So now she's on the Mainly Moonology podcast. So let me just put it straight to you, Laura. Okay, so as you know, Saturn and Neptune are going to collide, so to speak, at the end of January, 26th of January to be exact, which is Australia Day, at 0 degrees of Aries.
Yes.
So you could say the boundaries between fantasy and reality are going to thin out. For example, it's also for me about manifesting because Neptune's about the vision and Saturn is about the making things real and concrete. Through the prism, how do we separate, say, intuition from wishful thinking so that we don't get swept away in collective confusion at the start of January 2026 and end up getting a little bit, maybe feeling a bit downtrodden?
I have thoughts on everything. First of all, I want to plug the workshop on November 30th. I'm doing a workshop at Home Wellness UK on the Prism, where you will be receiving and working your own intuition and healing. So look at lauraday.com or Home Wellness UK.
It's going to be in London, isn't it?
It's going to be in London. You know, one of the things that life teaches us, and the Prism is about, how do we re-engineer life? So, you know, we're given our chart, we're given our set of circumstances at even before birth, at conception. And the rest of life is really, what do we do with it? Now, one of the wonderful things about all kinds of different modalities is they tell you what the collective experience will be. So we know from astrology that the collective experience will have a sense of reality versus fantasy, the grounded versus the possible, because Neptune is also the possible. Sun Tzu The great military strategist said, be like the water, because that way resistance doesn't fell you, resistance tires itself out. So, what the prism does teach us is to work with whatever is. And the way that you start that is by having goals. We're getting intuition all of the time, and we're also exerting our healing, directing energy to change energy. However, we often do it in very old, programmed, neurotic, confused ways. So, the first thing that we want to do is have goals. And maybe as intuitives, pull in our prediction a little. A time where there's both harsh reality, which isn't reality, by the way, and illusion is not often a time where looking at the data will help you, because you're in it and you can't really evaluate something until you have some perspective and distance. But what you can do is identify your goals. I really suggest having 3. Identify your goals, and then what in this moment can help you with your goals, and respond to that. Not the what if,
Repeat.
not the I hope, not the interpretation, but respond in the moment. Also, because we know that fiery things make us reactive, it's so important, again, with the prism in your goal, who is it you choose to be? And then who are your teachers? Find new teachers. Your old teachers worked for you, just like your old ego, your old personality worked for you. But who's doing what you want to do well? So, my husband, I'm a very reactive person, as Yasmin will tell you. My husband is my teacher in how to be level, how to wait, how to respond only to what's productive. And I do what I call embodying the Stephen. I allow myself to use what would Stephen do as a guide. So find the icons for your choice of who you want to be. There are lots of suggestions in the prism. And instead of like knowing your triggers, because you don't always know your triggers, the subconscious is subconscious. It is often below your awareness, especially as Yasmin will tell you with Neptune. Those goals are really important. And again, one of the interesting parts of the alchemy of the prism is taking a moment to suspend disbelief and responding to everyone and everything as if it were you. So someone comes at you and said, "Oh, your shirt got a little too small, or did you gain weight?" And you say, "You're looking just wonderful." So you become an energy alchemist. Shift the energy. Don't let, when you allow yourself to be triggered or victimized, you give away your power. So the little elements of your I, which is the new I you want to become, not the archaic one that you formed in that first 7 years of development, can be your guide during this time. The other thing is, look at, Yasmin has a diary. Look at what the influences are for the general public, because it isn't just about you. You interface with a real world, and that world, even in the worst of times, has gifts to give you, especially if you know what everyone else is going through. So it's really helpful. And I'm so lucky to have, Yasmin every once in a while. The other day, how we had a conversation is she sent me an update for the new moon on my WhatsApp. And it's really helpful to know, other than that I'm a 0 degree Aries, so that Saturn Neptune thing is a real opportunity for me to transform. It is literally, it belongs to me. Now I could switch that around and say, boy, that's going to really impact me. But it's going to impact me if I work with it in a way that I decide. So what we do know when we look at the world around us is I know, wow, people are going to be confused. What do I do for a living? I'm a leader, I'm a teacher, I'm a healer. That's what I've chosen. So this is an ideal time for me to offer my abilities to others. And that satisfies the Saturn, which happens to be both in my 12th house and my rising. So it's both what is hidden and who I am, interestingly enough. Um, and Neptune is the way that I heal and help. So really, check the diary for 2026. Look at what other people are going through. Notice I keep going like this because I think the book is there. Notice in the prism what the suggestions are to deal with that, and then lead with how can I help you, world? You cannot control other people's behavior. However, you can use it as energy. So those are my suggestions. And I know that Yasmin is coming out with some very alchemic ways to use these moon cycles to create change. Because one of the things I think that is so wonderful about information is that there's so many resources that we are not even aware exist. One of the things that I've tried to do in the Prism, and one of the things you'll be experiencing in the November 30th workshop, is tools that maybe were hidden, were outside of your experience, that now you have to use.
Right. So that's amazing, Laura. Thank you so much. And I just want to flip the question a little bit, because obviously Saturn Neptune is a potentially quite challenging aspect because everybody knows where Saturn's involved. If you're not working with Saturn, you're working against it. Just to bring it to right now, we have this week coming up some actually really nice astrology. We've got the Sun sextiling Pluto. We've got Mercury conjoining Venus. That means they're in the same place at the same time. Really good for communications, for loving communications. We've got Venus trine Jupiter, which is great for relationships, and then trine Saturn, which is also great for relationships. So with the Prism, which, I just to explain a little bit more to people and maybe about what's going to be in the workshop, what about when things are good? How does the Prism work then?
Well, when there's less resistance, you can travel more quickly. So what the Prism asks you to do is set goals and then to notice where the resistance is, but also notice where the helpers are. Because we tend, we're really taught to look at where our trauma is, where our problems are, but that is not where you have power. You have power in what's going right. And sometimes what's going right doesn't apply to your goal. We tend to say, oh, well, that's going right. I don't care. Like, I have a great marriage. I don't have to put work there. Finances are fine. Who cares? But actually, it's really, that's what gratitude is for. Super important in times of ease to say, oh, wow, these things are going right. And now, how do I expand them, bring them together? Because the wonderful thing is, it's I learned in gardening that I plant plants that push out the weeds. I don't even have to pull the weeds. I just plant wonderful things and the weeds disappear on their own. So in good times, what the Prism helps you do is know what to plant and also be a little aware of how to take the good plant to push out the obstacle.
Beautiful. So tell us, for those of us in London, what is going to be in your workshop and what can we expect if we turn up?
In the workshop, I'm actually going to ask you to pick one goal, and one goal because it's so important to see that your tools work. Intuition and healing are not beliefs. And by the way, I'm not an astrologer. I only know what my astrology friends have taught me. So I just want that disclaimer. But in the workshop, we're going to take one goal. We're going to use intuition. So our ability to see the future, to experience someone else's point of view. And we're going to use healing, the ability to direct our attention to change reality. And we're going to do it as a group, which empowers us. And we're going to recreate ourselves. When you recreate yourself, you recreate your life. When you recreate your life, you recreate yourself. I mean, how many of you have changed jobs and everything else in your life changes in a positive way if it's a positive change? So we are going to have a very concentrated, focused experience of using this information and of joining and using this power to create change. And then after the workshop, the change will prove itself to you. We also have two special guest healers at the end. Lady Ann Welsh, who started an organization called Painless Universal, and John. Oh, wow.
A noise outside. He's off to
It's
investigate.
working, Jonty, who started Tri Yoga, sold Tri Yoga, and now has a wonderful new yoga center and healing center called Home Wellness UK. So we are all going to be working as intuitives and healers. I'm going to be adding my intuition and laying on of hands. And then at the end, I'm bringing in other healers because the more we focus energy and the more different kinds of people, prisms we have, the more opportunity we have to make miraculous and dramatic change in our lives. And that's what November 30th is about. At lauraday.com or practicalintuition.com, you can sign up for the workshop. And I really encourage you to look at the prism even before the workshop. So you come in with a real awareness of what it is you want to change. A little warning label, though. Getting exactly what you want is hard because then you grow to meet it. And that really is what the prism does. The prism doesn't say change you. If you could change you, you would have already changed you. It says do one tiny thing differently. You're going to encounter what you want, and then that is going to make you change. So it really is a more external manifesting technique.
And how long is the workshop? Does it start in the morning, afternoon? How's it running?
It's an afternoon workshop. I think it's 3.5 hours. So it's very, very intense. And I'm so looking forward to it. There'll be a lot of professional psychics there who I have trained. So the information you get will be quite extraordinary. And I think you'll surprise yourself at the kind of extraordinary information, even if you've never done it before, that you can give others.
And is this your only London workshop for the time being?
It is for the time being. Every once in a while, I throw something up quickly. I really suggest you subscribe to the newsletter because I'll arrive in a city and Soho House or someplace will give me a room and I'll say, everybody come. They'll give me a guest list because I really love working as a group with healing and with intuition because it makes such dramatic change for people and frankly for me in my own life when we work as a group.
Okay. Well, Laura, thank you so much. So you've given us a little idea about how we can handle 2026. You've given us an idea on how to handle this week, the good, easy astrology, and also how to come and see you live in London. So I think it's pretty comprehensive. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yes.